I do think the thing that the Antonio highlighted does ring true, though, which is Noah and Jun, the most solid, stable part of this roster. And if we were looking at end of last year, heck, even winter split, it would not have been close when it comes to predicting this 2v2. Noah and Jun, you'd expect to be heavily favored, but we'll see if the draft favors them as well. Maokai taken away, Ezreal, the Kalista, pretty standard bans. Yone gonna hit the bench a little earlier than expected, but obviously a powerful pick.
Yeah, still leaves things like the Varus, the Skarner up and available. If SK don't end up banning them away. I'm curious if Zyra also managed to sneak her way through, because definitely the AP junglers have opened up things like the Oni, which has been banned away. But still, have to see exactly what the game plan is. Jace, the final ban, which obviously given respect towards GIANTX, who has brought out a ton of different picks on that top side, but not something I expected to be banned away this early.
And we'll see what Lott's where Lott's attention is focused. I think he had a pretty impressive winter, but hasn't been able to replicate a lot of that success. They are, however, giving him that attention, giving him that priority in the form of the Rumble. GIANTX now back in this position where he can go for a more niche counter pick if he wants to. That really wasn't the strategy that we saw from SK in their previous series, but has looked good individually in lane.
Yeah, I think the Varus pick should be kind of where you go here, though, for Keduii, to try and lock that one in, especially it's the strongest pick on the patch, and now you can lock in maybe something like the Vi if you really want to, but at least go for that jungle option here for Boukada. Like Sejuani, also up and available, and that's kind of been one of the picks he's shown, I think, the strongest performance on in the early stages, but we'll have to see if that's exactly where SK are going to put their eggs.
Maybe we go for something a little bit spicier here in the bottom lane. Would be a bit early to pick the range support. Instead, we're getting a lot of jungle and top lane hover-overs, and it will just be the Sejuani. So maybe less flashy for jungle, but I do think that for a team that has been struggling sometimes to get on the same page, Sejuani is actually the perfect jungler. Reliable, clear indicator that it's time to start the fight in the form of that ultimate. Good general kit as well, so not a bad choice.
No, I think she works fine. And as you say, it's like easy to just set up these engages for your team and provide that front line. So not surprised to see SK go first. I imagine you're going to get... Oh, okay. I was going to say... I did see the Jarvan Hoiber and was like, I actually kind of like it, especially against the immobile Varus, being able to go for that hot pot.
Oh my gosh.
Odo is actually a bit of an artist, you know?
Odo is an artist. Thank you, guys. So glad that you're here, Guldborg and Odoamne. You guys come cast with us if you want. It's weird. It's Monday.
Quadcast, is it the first ever quadcast? I don't know if there has been a quadcast.
I think we did one at All-Stars once, but let's call it the first real quadcast and offend who was ever in the previous quadcast. The rest of the pick ban phase, nothing too crazy. Okay, so MF got a little combo coming together, the Rumble ult, the MF ulti paired. Also, MF generally a strong laning option, and now we start to wonder, in the back of my mind, will GIANTX play Varus top lane?
I mean, I think he did in Mia Masters before. I may be wrong, just spouting absolute nonsense, but I think he's more than likely going bot lane. Also, I think if I'm SK, I'm not worried about a Poppy. I'm worried about a big Rell engage here to follow up with this. Like Jun, I think Rell has been his best champion. Maybe the Nico also be paired alongside us. And if you end up having the Vi engage into a Rell or Nico setup as well, with Rumble and MF over the top, this is a terrifying wombo combo from GX.
All right, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. GIANTX Varus top last year in LFL.
Okay.
So it might not just be Mirwin anymore. They don't quite have the same angle that MKOI did yesterday, where they were able to kind of like 1-2 take away 80 carries, but it does mean there is still some room for FLICKR to hide his mid lane pick a little bit longer if they want to go for a flex. But of course, the beauty of any kind of flex pick is you can kind of wait and see. You don't have to give anything away too soon.
Yeah, I assume it will just be a Gwen in the top side for GIANTX. Like, you kind of need that AP damage still in the kit, and you don't really have that just yet. So without that being banned away, I think you just go Gwen. And then, as you say, you keep that counter pick for FLICKR in the mid lane.
And yet now I've sown the seeds.
I was going to say, I'm sorry for making you sad.
No, they're holding as long as possible because they know that GX also probably aren't 100% sure. The downside of this is that GX are getting pretty sick comp and seem to be relatively unperturbed by a potential flex, as much as I'm making it out to be a big thing.
Yeah, I think though Jun's kind of happy with the matchup. Like, you go for the Alistar here, decent into the Rell in lane, and we were already kind of talking about the wombo combo availability. You just added another few layers to that on the GX side. So honestly, I kind of like what GX have. Like, it is a very simple point and click, kill these people with big AoE. Like, it's very easy to execute, and I think that's what GX kind of need in the mid game. Whereas for SK now, with that Sylas coming through,
have a Varus time! It's not just mirroring anymore. Let's go GIANTX, bringing out that LFL spice. You'll love to see that confidence on stage. I will say, I like the Sylas last pick a lot into the Alistar, as you highlighted. Also, the amount of engage that SK have, looking pretty good. I'm a little bit worried on the side of GX. Alistar not the strongest early levels. The Vi and Alistar together, solid engage combo. Not quite as simple as the Sejuani Rell you see on the opposite side.
Yeah, this is just going to be a bloodbath. Like, you get into a team fight, it's like, hey, whoever gets that big engage off first kind of just wins the fight out, right?
Yep.
I think on GX's side, at least you've got a little bit more of the ability to post up over walls, right? Like, MF doesn't technically have to be in the fight to set up with the ultimate, so that can help out to some degree, but either of these teams gets ahead, it feels like you're just base checking into a plethora of different CC combos and you just have a bad time.
It's a good call out. There's some energy in the studio today. I would describe it as chaotic, but those are some sick biceps, my guy. Keep flexing. Flex for the people. If GX win, Dadga marry me. Damn.
Yeah, okay.
You know what?
Sure.
I respect it. Coming on strong. Most people start with take you out the coffee, but you know what you're about.
I don't have a ring on it yet. Is that not supposed to?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know.
The wisdom of Beyonce seems very quotable at this particular moment.
Exactly. And I do accept Haribo's.
Where's the ring, my guy? Where's the ring? Here we are, game one. As you said, bloodbath. Big thing that whenever we talk about, you know, early game, teams wanting to fight early to mid game, early lane priority, I'm wondering, can you get push? Because again, this is like a cliche for Vi at this point, but if she gets to level 6 with nothing happening, she's happy. If the enemy team's 1,000 gold ahead by the time Vi hits level 6, the game gets pretty unplayable pretty fast.
Yeah, I do think for SK, you can kind of just leave Keduii and Loopy that level 1 to 3. They should be able to get push off of the support matchup. It's more about trying to see if you can get FLICKR set up on this mid lane, especially running the electrocute. He wants to kind of get the ball rolling very early, so he's in a decent spot. So I think we'll have some roams from Loopy and Boukada towards this mid lane. And FLICKR had like some really strong showings. I think his Yone, despite the loss, was great. Yep. And I think he kind of made a bit of a name for himself already in the past on these melee champions. So I'm excited to see what FLICKR can do into what is a bit of a skill matchup, but we'll have to see if the tables are tipped in his favor a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit bittersweet, right? The story of FLICKR. His first debut was not good. Did not get to show the level of performance that he had in the ERLs. This time around, it does feel like he's getting better, but on a team that has really struggled to find its footing and secure those wins outside of, again, that Yone game and that one incredible series against Fnatic. But waiting to see if they can replicate that moment of genius, that great day of success. So far, quiet early game. Bot lane I don't expect a lot from. Top lane is interesting. GIANTX not getting too much damage down here, level 1 quite yet. Yeah, so Loopy basically trying to use the auto attack range that he has to win this push, and that's all you really need here, because as long as you have that, it makes it really difficult for Jun and Noah to contest the wave, and now Keduii and Loopy get push, will hit level 2 very shortly, and they'll be fine. And I think early when you will see that 4.5 minutes rotation out of this matchup as well, because once you get access to your full combo as Jun, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Loopy and Keduii to play aggressive in this lane. Although they're making good use of their level 2. Noah and Jun turning back. FLICKR gets aggressive, is going to eat a tower shot though, oof. That makes the trade pretty rough. Jackie's instantly trading back, winning out again though. With the W, Sylas does have a bit more reliable sustain. Also the cookies there as well means that I think he's in an okay spot. Like, he'll be able to out-sustain over the course of the entire lane. And then, as you say, just continuously go with the Kingslayer to heal yourself up. So it's not the end of the world. His only worry is if you end up seeing Isma coming into this mid lane, obviously a little bit lower, but with the wave pushing into him, they should be fine. Stack wave here from GIANTX, of course, advantage of being the range champion is he actually gets to hit the tower, unlike a lot of the melee matchups we see into the Rumble. See if he can keep that push going. All is quiet, however, in the jungle, which I think does favor GX. But Loopy don't need no jungler. Trying to scoop, trying to boop. Nice stun to interrupt. Oh, nice backstep from Jackie's, though. Denying the Shattering Strike, coming in from the Rell. Makes it pretty casual. Hey, just emotes on him. Yeah, nicely done by Jackie's. Loopy not able to connect again with the Shattering Strike, but still, this is kind of what I wanted to see from SK. Even if you don't get that kill, it's still letting REKR have the moment to push out this wave. You can then get a decent reset, and you can go back for that early Dark Seal if you want to, which you see a lot of Sylas is doing solo cube, maybe less so in competitive, but it's still just opening up this Sylas to have a bit of an easier time. Because certainly once you get towards like 2 or 3 points in Kingslayer, it becomes a little bit easier to try and trade aggressively against this Azir, and that's all you're trying to get to.
I think the eternal struggle of Sylas is like, if you put too many points in W, can you still push the wave reliably? So we'll see how REKR chooses to approach it. I'm agreeing with you. I really think that I like the extra healing and sustain.
Yeah, I think as well, since the changes to his kit, where it's much more about his auto attacks and then doing that AoE damage, the fact that you don't have the chain lash as leveled usually doesn't mean that much, because you constantly want to trade aggressive on the wave state anyway. So I think you'll be fine. It actually has gone 2 points though, so we'll end up going with the 3-point chain lash and then move into his Kingslayer.
Some adjustment, but it doesn't mean the lane is going to be that much more precarious. See if you can get those quick electrocute procs off. Short trades, no doubt. Pretty good for him. Nice bit of poke here in the bottom lane. Now REKR just continuing to play aggressive. Instant electrocute proc. Jackie's getting the worst end of that trade. The downside again though, good on Jackie's for holding his ground. I feel like this is the #1 mistake you see of like new League of Legends players when they get chunked out by any kind of melee champion. They're like, well, I've lost. It's time for me to stop fighting. That clearly didn't go well. No, extending the trade, evening things up a bit is...
Good read from Isma as well here. Cover the mid lane.
Boukada stepping up. Isma hitting once just to get the passive off does make sense. Initial chunk for Boukada there. Sticking around a little bit too long though. Again, in the extended fight, Vi, especially with that W passive, will just do more damage. Sejuani, just that initial burst really where she's strong.
Yeah, it was basically... Oh, hang on.
Combo. Keduii going back.
Yeah, it was basically a game of chicken in that jungle matchup, because it's like Boukada can just Arctic Assault over the wall. So it's like, is Isma going to go over the wall, or is he going to stick in position? Because if he'd gone over the wall, I think REKR would have been able to follow up, and then you can try and go for the lockdown onto him. But now, level 6 hit a little bit earlier. Jackie's respecting it.
Immediately just dashes back. Jackie's good patience in this lane, won't give anything else away, but is slowly falling behind in terms of gold. About 180 lead to REKR. A lot of that will be recouped as this wave is picked up by Jackie's. But GX with bot prio, power this MF. Part of the reason they picked it out, right? Are able to secure this first Drake. Doesn't look like it's going to be contested. It's just a classic objective for objective trade. You know them, you love them. League of Legends, baby.
That's why I thought they'd actually go for like a lane swap. Well, like at the 4.5 minute mark, you've seen a bunch of people just go, cool, I don't want to deal with this, but it does mean GIANTX basically ends up in the crappy matchup in bot lane, so I don't think he can go for it as easy as Keduii now.
Keduii's got to be careful here. Flash in, knock up, well combo, but Keduii holds on to everything, is able to get out. Isma not quite able to get the Q flash, it looks like. Now locked up, Keduii turning back. Initial damage good, Shattering Strike onto 2. They are wasting a lot of time here, and REKR is on the way. This is his montage moment. Can he find it? Goes in, should at least just be 1 kill. Won't be able to get anything else. Jun trying to style his way out, but will give first blood over Keduii. Well played by SK. Noah now the next in trouble. Q flash going in from Loopy. REKR about to pick up this kill. That is an excellent start. 80 carry and mid lane getting those first 2.
Yeah, huge roam for REKR, setting up those plays beautifully. And I love the fact he just left the kill for Keduii. He was like, right, I've got bigger fish to fry. Ends up picking off Noah. Now Laure trying to deny, but Boukada being able to get in towards his top side as well. Will push him away. But still, SK come out very much on top of them.
And that's a big fumble from the side of GX, because Boukada was topside. This is supposed to be the weak side, but they survived so long. Keduii lives for so long. It looks grim initially, but holding on to everything ended up being the right call.
Yeah, and I think it's a little unfortunate here that Jun didn't end up getting in behind Keduii quick enough to get the headbutt back, because then Keduii doesn't get the Valkyrie away. But Loopy now coming down, REKR getting the roam, and you can see the pings galore on where REKR is going to be. But GX are a little bit too late. REKR using the first part of his E out of vision, so then it doesn't look like he's ready just immediately throw the chains, catches Jun, and then sets up. And even here as well, oh, hang on, Boukada
looking to repeat top lane. Arctic Assault, follow-up. This should just be a quick kill on the Laure. Will at least get the flash. Laure retreating. GIANTX not quite able to proc those blight stacks.
Yeah, I thought they might go the other way around there. So if GIANTX uses the Chains of Corruption, locks him down, you're then able to get the full part of the Sejuani passive, then get the ult after, and it just gives you that longer CC chain. But went for it the other way around, and it means that they just don't quite have enough CC to keep Laure in place, and he should be fine to just pick up this wave underneath the Terror as well. So Flash gone, but he's still pretty happy.
Yeah, given that they didn't have vision of the Sejuani, and maybe he wasn't completely sure. I don't know if you needed to do the Q plus ulti, but at the end of the day, they get the flash, as you said, feels pretty good. Bot side play, just calling back to it. Isma, he said it's not personal, but it would have been really nice if he just had another 50 pixels on the flash Q. Didn't go for the Q flash, did the flash Q, and that difference just puts Keduii and Loopy in such a comfortable position now. While Noah still has a lead and has the life steal to make this lane phase easy, Keduii and Loopy surviving has just done so much for the side of SK.
Yeah, it's also just actually hanging. Boukada spotted up by Isma.
Isma, decent start, level 7. Knows that he has ult advantage, but GX a bit hesitant here.
Yeah, nice cover by Isma, but I was gonna say we're casters. We like hyperbole sometimes. Yep. And I was ready to just come in and go, Isma wants to smash SK, he hates them, and then like every interview's been
every interview with everyone.
I understand. It's like, oh.
What if we just pretend we never showed any of those? You know, a little spin doctor kind of action, and not in the like bike exercise kind of way.
Well, I just make up random stories about anyone on the team now. It's just like, yeah, everyone hates everyone. Actually,
the problem is, you know, people can understand, right? The thing is if we cast like a league, I don't know, let's say just somewhere like the Antarctica League. I think we could make up any story we wanted. We don't. We cast the peak of European League of Legends, my friend.
But I was so ready to talk about Club Penguin, you know?
That's a great name for the league. That's all I'm saying. Antarctica League. Sickest player stories I've ever seen is still a lot of hovering around mid. Jackie's done well to survive, but the downside is he's still losing in priority, and that's why FLICKR was able to roam. So surviving is good, but the rest of his team hasn't been able to compensate for the fact that he's been getting so much attention.
Yeah, sometimes you need to thrive as well, and I don't really feel like that's happening. But for FLICKR again, like honestly, this guy's been a bit of a standout performer for SK, right? Had the good Yone game who's talked about, now coming bot lane again to pick on loss. It's looking pretty hot for him.
That's a lot of people. It's been a weird week. Sorry, everyone. It's your Monday, but it's my Wednesday. You're going to bear with me.
But it's they're just giving up on the play. They kind of just saw a lot and were like, you are in a weird position.
Still has ulti.
They're still going for it.
Loopy wants to go with one less person. They decided this is the optimal amount of people to perform a dive, and they might just be right. Lot still living for an extra second. The big one. Connecting and finding the kill. Well played by SK. It doesn't mean conceding the grubs. Boukada wants to keep going. Keduii gonna try to maybe die to the minions. The shutdown going over. That is definitely not what they wanted. Quick cleanse out from Noah. He also has ulti if they want to keep the fight going. Now GIANTX is TPing bot lane.
That could have gone a little bit smoother for SK. Like, they do get the kill, but burning that ultimate, the teleport to try and get down here will net them dragon, but still not exactly the way you want to use TP, especially when you look topside. Jackie's going to get a lot of those plates on that turret now, or at least 2 should be picked up, and now kind of eagerly out for that kill, which was also answered with a kill. So it's kind of the dragon for essentially 2 kills worth of gold.
Overall, not too bad. It does look a little bit awkward in the moment. Keduii obviously dying, giving that gold over to Lot is a little bit rough, but at the end of the day, it's still, as you highlighted, objective for objective trade, plus that additional kill gold, and overall, looks a little goofy, but it's completely fine. Jackie's picking up first Nash or Tooth, now returning to a side lane. We'll see what he can get done, and once again, with that TP, GIANTX has set himself up to be facing off against Lot, which I think is exactly where he wants to be, although not quite as far ahead as in terms of itemization as he would like.
Yeah, I think for both sides, they're kind of in a bit of a weird spot, because all objectives have been split on both sides of the map. As Loopy needs to be very careful as to where he's positioned here. FLICKR moving across to help him, but you haven't really seen like the game massively break open, right? Like a lot of the plays have been answered for, even the pressure that SK were trying to put on bot side, Isma was kind of in position to cover, so it's still very much in a bit of a stalemate, and SK are trying now to see if they can get some sort of vision with Loopy and Boukada to look for picks, but Jun is doing a good job of covering as they look for that deep vision.
Jun, quick pump back. Neither side really has prio here, as the waves are all relatively even, but it will be Noah first on that mid wave. SK forced to take a step back, and instead they'll try to play through the top side of the map. GIANTX and Lot allowed to continue their eternal 1v1.
Yeah, not as big of a goal difference as we saw from Mirren, though, as Loopy gets jumped on. I think, like, hasn't actually been able to get to the turret as easily as he would like to, and being able to chip away at the structure as much as he kind of needed to in this matchup. So it's still a nice gold lead, don't get me wrong, but definitely not as game-defining as maybe you'd like. I still think, though, if you come into these skirmishes, the fact that you have one item already completed for this Varus, like, you are in a good spot, but there's just nothing really to fight over for the next 2.5 minutes. So I think it still will come down to something like a Rift Charrow play or a big dragon fight that's going to break this game open.
I think you're completely correct. 2 minutes away, essentially, from both those objectives. About 3 till the Drake. The first feat of Warfare has been picked up by SK for the 3 kills, but both teams are on 2 objectives each. So next objective or first tower, be big for the feats. And as you highlighted, Varus finishing that first item before the Rumble definitely feels good. Was able to sneak it back in there to get it as Jun now tries to start the fight. Initial damage all going on to Boukada. Definitely not the ideal target. Counter engage in from Loopy. Excellent backstep coming in from RECR, but whose ult is he going to take? It's the Alistar. Now for the next 5 or so seconds, he's going to be unkillable, but they've got more than enough CC to lock him up, and as tank as he is, he's still going to go down. Well fought by GX. Starts a little sloppy, but Lot is here just in time.
Great TP from Lost to cover the play on top side. Will end up losing his tower on bot, but will be able to answer, it looks like, for the one on the top end of the map. So GIANTX using those TP advantages that they picked up earlier to great success. Actually, even TPing Jackie's now down to the bottom side to prevent GIANTX from getting that. Nicely orchestrated by GIANTX.
It's one of those things where just the slight adjustment in lane assignments. Right, RECR does have the TP, GIANTX does not. GIANTX not able to join. And sadly, the plates have now fallen off, so while he's able to push this wave in and get some decent tower damage with those 3 Krugs, or 3 grubs, excuse me, it just doesn't matter.
But it does come back to, remember that TP that GIANTX had bot side, they didn't really get anything, right? And then here, SK think they can make the play, so Loopy gets the big engage off, but RECR, as he goes in, nice sidestep, but he manages to take the ult from Jun that little bit too late, so it doesn't actually have it to deny a lot of that CC, ends up getting knocked around, but bot side.
GIANTX getting aggressive, Jun has to backstep to try to get away, but Jackie's just steps forward. GIANTX, nice flash to get away from the combo, but it's not enough! Oh, his reaction speeds are damn fast, but couldn't get that last ability out to finish the kill. Well played by Jackie's.
He ends up just jumping onto the spears of Jackie's instead, and now bot side turret going to be here for GIANTX. Lot still have to cover on that top end as well, and there's just not really the members. Actually, as I say that, they're starting to move now, but yeah, I don't know. Lot, I'm looking at the ultimate cooldown on this Rumble. Might just be able to clear it the way, but no, he's going to abandon ship on the top side.
Yeah, there's a lot of attention. It's so hard not to do. I did it intentionally the first time, and now I'm just... It's like when Amazing used to play. Like, luckily, he only spent half his career being in a position where that was how we would refer to him. There was another half of the career that wasn't amazing.
Yeah,
so
fair. That, yeah.
But Lot is just...
And then you say, but you still use it because it's not amazing, right? So it's just...
There's no avoiding it. We should get to ban player names. That's my opinion. I don't think people will...
Could you imagine the chaos if we got to pick player names?
Okay, all I'm going to say is not to start a war with T1 fans, but the fact that Zeus is pronounced Zeus and not Zeus pisses me off every single day of my life.
Yeah.
He does a lightning bolt symbol. How much more do we need? Sorry, anyway.
And that's why we should just name them all after the cast of SpongeBob.
I agree.
It just make things easier.
Yep.
You know, everyone agrees on that.
Patrick's a great name. Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, someone's going to be called the Chumbuckus, and we just have to accept that.
Someone's going to be Sandy Cheeks. Such is life. All right, anyway, SK holding on the top side. Again, some praise definitely is deserved for Jackie's, who weathered that initial storm despite how aggressive RECR was playing in the lane and has now just become this massive threat. Does set up the Sun Disc. RECR trying to move into mid lane to cover. SK with more people here on the top side, but they're just not really in a position to do much. Sadly, SK just been on the back foot for the last minute or so here, and as a result, feats going over to the side of GX. They were able to get the tower as well as the third objective.
On the opposite side, though, like, this is kind of cool from GIANTX, right? One of the big things we talked about was it feels like this team has struggled when it comes towards their mid-game and how they operate on the map, but they've had clever TP usage from Lot to cover that top play and then immediately move Jackie's down to keep this bot lane turret safe. Now they're in a position where they are actually able to contest on towards Dragon. Still need to contest mid-wave, which is why you see them shifting across here to help Noah clear that out. So feels like GIANTX kind of starting to put into work into some of their more macro-focused plays.
Definitely that diligence paying off. Crasher will break mid tier 1. Love it when a Herald breaks open mid. So good for the GX composition as well. Makes it that much easier for Jun and Isma to play the map. SK grouping as 5, looking to find a way into this fight. They don't have bot lane pushing, but they might just go anyway. Loopy taking a massive chunk though. That may just be the end of the play. They have Crab. they're losing gold just to be here. This is the downside, but Boukada's going to try and start the fight. Is it enough to take them out? Nice push back onto the Azir, but in the end, FLICKR just goes down. Boukada in the front line, but he's getting shredded. He's getting deleted. Noah's still alive. He's able to get off a decent ult channel, and now he's ready to take over the fight. It's Keduii and GIANTX, double 80 carries. Are they enough? Isma retreating. Lot should also just get taken down. Keduii and GIANTX now just need to take down Noah. 2v1 Noah. Can he turn this? The answer is no. It's a triple coming through for GIANTX.
FLICKR, knowing that his team just has more damage coming through, manages to get the shuffle to kill off Jackies, and SK with the double 80 carries left firing can come out on top of the fight.
It's a damn good look, and it was close. Crucial cancels here in this fight.
I mean, Jackie's just getting caught. Really nice from Boukada, and then the damage is absolutely insane from the double 80 carries, especially after the good engage coming through here from Loopy. It just sets up nicely. Jun can't really get any combo off. Noah hasn't been able to get it. Like, once this ML folks down, you're just not really as much of a threat in a fight. And then with this combo, just about able to finish off the MF before any more damage is sent through.
Yeah, well, Jackies is able to get his own ult off. That's a 4 or 5 man Varus ult, which always feels good. It does so much damage in those fights, in those close exchanges. GX still powerful, and we might have a round 2 here. FLICKR stepping up, Isma off to the side, Alistar ult going in, Jun taken down, Isma still stepping up, Jackie's here as well. SK just going to be able to grab the objective. Confidence, knowing they're stronger in the fight and they want to keep this going. They know that GX are split and they're looking to punish. Equalizer goes down, Lot caught up for a second, just barely out of range for the stun. Boukada not able to find it, and SK retreating. And we're right back to a dead even game.
Yeah, the team fighting from SK is really starting to bring this one back, so bleeding a little bit on the map. But overall, when it comes down to just outperforming the opposition, SK have been able to find their successes. GX, like I was about to, I was praising them for their map play and trying to set up, but unfortunately they end up just giving that little bit too much space into River for SK to actually be able to enter, and been able to find the wombo combo that their team composition is built around.
Nope. And the struggle, of course, is in those extended fights after that initial combo. You've got essentially Keduii and GIANTX versus Noah and Jackies, and that fight starts with Jackies getting caught. See if they can execute better in the next fight. 0-0-5 the score for Isma, not doing too bad for himself, but a neck-and-neck game. Bot side control, the name of the game here for the side of SK as they move downward, but have to be careful not to get caught out by GX. Both teams seemingly content to ignore that mid wave for a moment to try to play for side lanes. Top wave completely neglected. It looks like it is pushing back, so it should fine. SK in a very comfortable position, honestly.
Yeah, a lot had pushed out topside and just went to steal Raptors, trying to cover any sort of play on the mid wave, but SK were more interested in trading for that bot lane turret, getting more gold onto this Varus. A 1.8k gold lead now opened up from GIANTX.
Ooh, and a Seeker.
Yeah, that's huge. And oh, this is not the timing. Isma to try and start that one up, but I think as well, the fact you have the TPs now starting to come back for SK, I think GIANTX's window to make plays on the map are starting to dwindle too, so just the gold lead that is coming through for this Varus is going to be really difficult to deal with in fights unless Isma can get onto him.
Finding those picks, those angles so far. Start fights. Look, man,
it's been a week.
It's been a week. Yeah. There's an ST at the start of that word, not an F, as it turns out, as Isma takes a massive chunk of damage before the fight really even starts. Trading his health bars for Loopy's, which isn't the best deal overall. Now flashing out, trying to recall. FLICKR, flash in, push back. Again, Jackie's caught. He does not have a Seekers of his own. Keduii getting a quick kill. SK have found the weak link, and they're just continuing to target Jackies in these exchanges.
They do need to get this Adacon though, because you've already invested FLICKR's flash and a lot of that playmaking abilities. GX now wanting to try and contest this. Oh, it goes wide.
That does go completely wide, but Rumble has no ultimate. Isma on the way does have his ult, does have his smite. GX, do they believe in the 50-50? Because they're running out of options here. FLICKR taking a decent chunk. Absconds backwards. Going to only have another second for the chain. Will not use it. Isma now going in on the mid laner instead. FLICKR, though, managing to survive. Ticking, burning, but he will not be finished. All of GX now walking away. Voracious Otacon down for the side of SK.
Barely able to survive off the back of that. I was a little nervous for FLICKR because I was keeping my eyes on his ultimate. Should have been able to steal that Alistar ult to maybe survive, but he didn't even need it in the end. SK 2 picks and now that Voracious Atacon. They should be able to get a lot of the standing gold that's left on the map, and we get to see it here. So FLICKR, it's a nice sidestep from Jackies here on the Abduct, but it doesn't matter. Once you get that flash engage, you get the Chains of Corruption down, it's super easy to find the pick.
And Jackies had flash. This time it looks like Noah's been caught. Will be forced to use flash of his own. But these small individual errors costing GX a lot. Again, in the early game, Jackies so clean. Respected all gank potential is a nice combo. Might not matter. Good use of the secrets from GenX. Where's the follow-up CC and initial burn going down? Remember, it's just for the false life buff. The GX are playing, trying to slow down this lineup. It's only a minute till Baron and a minute till Drake as well.
I'm not sure how close GenX is to that Zhonya's Zeraglass, but with 50 seconds until Dragon, the fact that is now not available is pretty clutch. So I'm curious if he's able to get that reset in and purchase the full Zhonyas before that next buy. But still, SK threatening this tower.
It's tough though. Noah, no flash, no cleanse because of that play. GenX, the carry, is a bit more vulnerable. Loopy waiting in the darkness, likely to be spotted by Jun. Does catch him on the sweeper. Full reset. So SK will get first push here on this next wave. The question is, do they want to shift their attention towards setup around the Drake or around the Baron?
Well, I think you kind of just go wherever GX is, right? Because you do have the false life still, so just take the fight regardless. If you can get a couple of heads off the GX side, then great, you can go over towards the other objective after you clear out the fight. So I think for SK, like, they have such a commanding position now. But still, GenX actually just shy of that full Zhonya's Hourglass. So, oh, Isma?
Isma. Initial stun there. Reeker now going to follow. Noah in a decent position to punish, but it looks like Isma will be able to walk out. So Ignite gone. But Reeker still holding on to that Alistar ultimate. Not sure how much time is left on that cooldown, but it's going to make him a fighting menace. In the meantime, Boukada starts the Drake. And again, GX. Like, you can just see that SK are just quicker on the draw when it comes to punishing these decisions. Boukada already on the objective. Now they're going to get mid-push as well, and these little mistakes.
I think there's a potential here that SK, well, it looks like they're going to try and go for the pick, but I wasn't sure how quickly they wanted to fall back to Baron, because they do it relatively quickly with the composition that they have. So, Loop. GX now trying to face check this, but Reeker's on top side. You still need him to come across.
And you can see why Isma would want to step forward and take that risk, assuming that SK are just on Drake. He thought that was his time to get a bit of vision, know what's coming. They don't want to give the angle for a fast Baron take. But to be fair to GX, whenever you have Azir and he's got an Asher's, you can also try to run down this Baron. But they are not in a great position. Just now clearing out the vision. SK resetting on the map first.
Yeah, and GenX should have that Zhonya's Hourglass now complete. I think that's why they were giving him some of the Raptors and the red buff kill too. So should just be finished. There it is. And now he can go back out onto the map and make sure that he's in a position to contest GX. And that was kind of your big vulnerability was, sure, he had flash, but if there was Isma being able to jump in on top of him, you kind of need that Zhonya's Hourglass to keep yourself safe. But now Jun not having flash and you've got that safety net, it makes it much more difficult for GIANTX to get onto the main carry for this SK roster.
Definitely is tricky. Of course, when it comes to this objective setup, pushing the side lane's crucial. And we get into this turn-based game of League of Legends. Dadga, how many games have we talked about it? Baron setup, you push, you clear their vision. When you're in a commanding position, maybe you start it. Maybe you're just going for a TP, maybe you want to finish it, but you kind of just dare the enemy team to walk into you.
I was about to say, though, this was a pretty good ward, so nice job there by SK to spot it out, because oftentimes you end up popping a pink ward down in the pit and saying that's the job done, but sneaky ward that Loopy ends up catching, so GX now completely blind as to what is happening. There is a ward, as you can see in the tri-brush, just in behind Baron Pit, but that's not enough information to give it all.
Loopy fishing for Lot there. SK knowing they have better setup. Isma now back on the map. 4 wards in the inventory of Jun. They can push in here, but they don't have mid prio. They've got bot prio. Someone on the side of SK would need to respond if they hadn't already started the objective. Blue trinket there, but I don't think they can get in fast enough. Isma trying to dash into the pen. He's not going to be able to flash, but he might be able to find a quick kill onto Loopy. Loopy now turning the fight, and he's still alive. Walking that one out, no, with a decent ultimate, but they already got what they came for. The Baron's already down now. GX need to kill everybody if they want to even this out. Reeker trying to buy space for Loopy. Loopy riding off into the sunset, getting the objective, will not get taken down. No waiting over the wall. Lot with some decent damage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's Jack. He's got no flash, no ulti, and no TP, but he desperately wants to get this tier 2 down. It's only a cannon, however, so there's not much of a play here.
No, he will not be able to. Oh, I wasn't sure if he wanted to tank. I was like, that's not the idea. Just waiting for the next one. But still, SK get away with this. that got a little dicey. And also I thought Loopy was considering the re-engage there once they spotted that Jackies was on that mid wave. But still, chase SK out on that top side, and it's just way too late. Nobody wanted to face check into SK. They managed to get the kill onto the Vi, and then Jackies tries to make the play, but he manages to get one. Keduii holds the flash and manages to get over the wall. And then as they chase out here, this is like, look at Loopy here. Loopy's considering going for the re-engage because he sees that Jackie's on the mid wave. It's a 3v4 that could have potentially been the re-engage, but they're happy to just step out with the Baron. And now Loopy would have taken a step forward.
Quick lock up onto him. Jun maybe looking for a disengage. SK, what can they do with this Baron? Good news is, with the priority that they should have in mid lane and bot lane, Soul very likely to be secured by SK. 2.6k gold lead. Should be able to get some more standing gold if they want. They don't really have a wave bot lane, though. A lot of their players setting up for these picks, much more focused on setting up for control around Drake than they are pushing in these side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, it's 55 seconds until Dragon, potential Soul, they're happy enough to just keep these waves pushed in. As long as you can deny access to the bot side jungle, GIANTX are in a bit of a disastrous position. As SK now go forward.
Ulti onto Jun, not an ideal target. Immediate retreat comes out from the side of GX. They have a man advantage here. Lot hovering, ready to cover. Has ulti ready to go. But SK are playing on 2 lanes. They're not grouping as 5.
But they're also denying the quick access here, so you have to continuously move around this way as GIANTX, whereas you've got the very quick route as SK to get through the jungle. So they're just playing off of that fact that they can quickly rotate between these 2 towers. And GIANTX now committing multiple members to the bottom side as they spot Isma in rotation as well.
Ulti goes in from Gen X to start things off. Jun taxis forward, gets a decent Q down, but now the re-engage coming in from Loopy. Eyes on Noah, where's that ulti gonna go? Lot wants to follow up as well. Decent damage on, but they don't have any of the CC. Mistimed. GX on different pages, and now it's Reeker on the side, debating if he can go in. Boukada might drop, however. Still vulnerable ulti to poke a little bit. Shut down to the side of Jackies. Well, it started a bit awkwardly for GX. They are wasting time. They give up 2. They're not going to lose much on the bottom lane. But Drake.
It's the jungler that goes down, so now this becomes a little bit more dicey for SK if they want to go for it. But Jackie's the only real ultimate available for a potential fight, so Soul will still be taken by SK. They're happy, Sans jungler, to just continue going for that.
That's Cloud Soul.
Yeah. And it's an awkward one for GIANTX because you can see they had to TP Lot down to that bottom side to try and make the fight happen, but the engage was so far away from the rest of the squad, they just don't get to follow up. You'll see it as it comes through here. So as they go in, it's Jun and Isma that get caught up by Loopy. Isma manages to get the ult onto Keduii, but Noah is incredibly far away. Lot has only just arrived, so the ultimate isn't really in a position to do the ultimate things, and Jackie's now is barely able to kill Boukada with the Leandri's burn. But it's a bit of a consolation prize. You lost 2 and you lost the Stole.
And you can see that GX just were not on the same page in that play. The strength of their composition, as we mentioned before, it's this shotgun. It's all these ultis coming together, but it's discordant. They're just not, they're not singing the same song here, Dadga. And it's combined with the gold deficit, combined with the Soul now, it's only going to get harder. Because, look, Cloud is strong, but when your comp has an immobile 80 carry top laner against a Rumble, it's double strong. Isma now might be the one in trouble, is forced to flash the Q, the stolen Vi ultimate falling up, and he's going to die again. Devastating. Jun going to be locked up as well, forced to use the ulti. Push coming in the top lane, and GX getting choked out of the game now. Baron's not even there, but 2 minutes out, and SK full pressure here. Man advantage as well. It's just going to be the equalizer to clear the wave as Gen X let's get a few cheeky autos in onto the tower.
Yeah, you don't really have the waves now for SK because mid was cleared out and top is still a little bit away, so GIANTX can kind of fall back towards mid to cover and then rotate up as this top wave collects as well. So should be able to hold on long enough for Isma to come back, but they're going to have to very quickly take on a fight against SK as here comes the wave.
And I'm going to level with you. Oh, hold on. Ulti, nice little sliding and gliding there. Tier 2 is going to go down. This build from Gen X is obnoxious as hell.
Yep.
Like, what the heck? Like, was Kaisa not enough? Did we need more than one 80 carry that could build Zhonya's in the game League of Legends? That was enough, and now we're going for full MR itemization?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is just never going to die, right? And it's, to be fair, it's like Jackie's and Lot are the people that are doing the most damage in this sort of position. So he's just going to be completely tanky. And if anyone actually tries to dive on the backline, he's got the Zhonya's too. Like, this is just an insanely strong build at the moment.
Yeah, and the extended fight, too, can still just do so much damage. Even a little bit of AP goes a long way with the Blight stacks. Isma may have caught Loopy. Solid combo and a quick pick. Lost in the sauce talking about builds, but it's GX who found an angle. SK 4v5, but they have mid push. Playing for poke here. Tower set up to block the escape.
The thing is that pick happens and it's still 10 seconds to Baron, so GIANTX now are kind of in this weird position where they need to cover the mid push but don't really have an objective to bait SK in. Is just about to spawn Loopy up in 15 seconds, so GIANTX clear this wave and then should immediately fall back into this river area.
There's not really another wave. In top lane, maybe. SK, it's too hard to approach. They don't really want to use GIANTX's TP, but it's something that might have to be respected. Isma waiting over the wall with Boukada, but meanwhile, FLICKR 1v1 against Jackie's using the Alistar ultimate, buying a bit more time. Jackie's still chasing, though. That's a risky call. Flashing back behind the tower. Unbreakable Will about to fade, and FLICKR so damn fast with that Cloud Soul. But now he's the odd man out. Equalizer from the sky. FLICKR flashing over the wall. Chaos, but SK again getting mid-prio. Jun now the one who's caught out. He's got no fall. No one else in the team is here. Unbreakable Will is there, but that's a damn breakable cow as GIANTX is taking them out on a walkabout. And I think in the meantime, SK might just go for the Baron.
FLICKR's just off on his own solo mission.
He's so fast!
I mean, this is a scenic route of all scenic routes. He might look for Jackie's. He can get Noah away, though. Can he get out?
For Noah.
He needed to get the heat off.
He needed the W. Can he? No, lost there. Okay, there's no way. Come on. He's dead. Sidestep. Dodges one. Dashes in. No, he's gone. No! Wait, okay, come. Bro. That was unnecessary. He could have held that Zhonya's.
What do you mean? That was the most necessary Zhonya's for stall points I've ever seen. That man on this little walkabout just guaranteed his team Baron. You know?
He was juking. Yeah. Credit to him. Dodging. Well played by FLICKR. Making the most of a bad situation. Knew he was going to die. GX wanted that kill. Did not trust their ability to get priority on the objective. I think the second Jun was down, that was the right call. So SK, it's another Baron and a Soul, and the lead's only getting bigger.
Yeah, especially in that fight, it was the fact that FLICKR just immediately turned on towards Jackie's, took out such a large portion of the regular DPS that GIANTX need in the fight, so made things a little bit easier for SK. Also just meant that Jun was completely caught off center. But now, towards the team fight, FLICKR no TP just yet, and he's not up and available.
Small window for GX, you're right. FLICKR not here, no TP. Jackie's did trade flash for flash, but GIANTX can't come back. It's still a minute till Elder, crucially. So GX, even if they find a kill, there won't be much for them to get.
Yeah, it feels more like they just want to try and go for the vision play, but you've got like still wards in behind them.
Yeah.
So, like, you can kind of play the guessing game as SK. They haven't walked back into their own jungle, and they went into our jungle. Guess where they are?
I mean, both teams committed to grouping 5v5. GX know it's the best way to play their comp, and I think for SK, they know that they're stronger. Side lane's probably not an option with how powerful a lot of these picks are. Noah continuing to poke. GIANTX does not do damage with Qs. Jun tanking the ulti from the Sejuani, not a bad start. Pushback is huge, though. Jackie's not quite able to get his ult off. Meanwhile, in the meantime, FLICKR catching out Noah. Noah now retreating, but into SK territory. Excellent fall from the Sejuani. Pushback coming through. SK just dominating in the fight.
They rinse GIANTX, and just like that, Drakos, you might have to eat your words. SK coming alive in the team fights, and
classic
now
caster
they're
curse.
going to start working their way down mid.
Okay, round two. No, observers, this is the game. Oh, he TP'd out. No, he did not TP out.
No, he's a jungler.
He's a jungler.
He's dead.
He's dead. They're fist fighting? They're fist fighting. Yes, give me my picture-in-picture. The game is ending, but it does not matter. Can Isma do it better? No, the Sylas is too strong. All right, that was short-lived. SK back to finishing the game. Weathered an early storm, even with GX getting a lead. SK pulled ahead, fought better in the fights, found more picks, out-executed in the mid-game, and found themselves a win. Game one in this series going to SK. Creative use of that Varus, damn well paying off.
The team fighting from SK was amazing. As you start to move in, like GIANTX, great uses of the ultimate. FLICKR, I think, did a fantastic job in setting up a lot of those fights as well with 100%. The Azir ult, or even just playing frontline with Jun's Alistar ultimate stolen away. So, I mean, again, individual performers on SK stepping up huge.
It definitely looked good, but it seems like Ginny's standing by with a very victorious top laner who's ruining solo queue with that build. GIANTX, let's hear what he has to say.